Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Timothy Chin here on the AskTimChin show. Are you ready for this? Hold on, I'm rolling up my sleeves. It's big. 12. Is that right on the camera?
Yes.
Episode 12. We've survived the first 11. We're going to survive this one. This is a show where you can send in your questions to AskTimChin.com and share with us what you're thinking about. What's your struggle in your finances, your small business, your life, your relationships, your networking, your whatever it is. We want to answer those. We've coached over 20,000 small business owners, and I speak over 100 times a year. And there's nothing you could ask that we haven't heard before, but maybe we can give you a shortcut that saves you wasting $40,000 or stepping in a dog pile of doo-doo and gets you to your success path quicker. My co-host and prettier part, Erica Worthy, is here with us today, co-producer of the show, my chief questionnaire, and I also like to bring in her millennial knowledge and wisdom occasionally, not too often.
Are you admitting that I have wisdom?
You heard I said occasionally.
This is recorded. So.
Yeah. I'd say edited, but you're the editor, so. Oh, well, I guess I messed that one up. Question number 1 today is... Drum roll, go ahead.
My biggest challenge is prospecting, how to take down the barriers of a cold call, how to get to know people over the phone.
Well, first of all, I'm looking out my window, and there's a guy walking around the back of my neighbor's house. It looks a little bit strange. So... Anyway, one more time. Take down the barriers. What? Easily distract rabbit.
Of a cold call.
How to
deal with making cold calls.
Don't. Next. What's your next question? There again, you have to ask yourself, why make cold calls? I mean, those, to me, is right up there knocking on doors. Who wants to do it? Now, occasionally, I understand. And now, there are some people that love cold calling. I'm not one of them. Now, Amber, she has no fear of cold calling. In person or on phone. I would suggest this. If you're going to cold call in person. And first of all, before you start calling just randomly, you want to ask yourself, what is the niche? What is the perfect client for your product? Now, if you're in skincare, don't go anybody with skin. No, that's not true. And so most business owners or salespeople fail to realize really who is your niche market. So let's role play with you.
Okay.
By the way, Erica owns a virtual assistant company where she takes a lot of stress and pain and aggravation out of being a sole proprietor. Who is your perfect client? Not ideal, perfect.
Perfect client.
Perfect. Because that would also include being able to pay your bill.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's true.
So that's part of it.
That is very true.
All right. So what would be your perfect client?
Small business owner.
Okay.
Who has the work and the funds and just there's some administrative stuff they just don't like.
All right, so I'm going to coach you here live. This is all about coaching.
Let's do
it. First of all, there should be some characteristics of that person you described.
Okay.
For instance, if I'm going to get an attorney or a doctor or a dentist or an optometrist, somebody more of a white-collar professional into a networking group, I usually have to get them between years 3 and 5. They're not so big that they're making enough where they don't still need business,
Yep.
but yet they're small enough to still have time to do it and can do that. So now I'm a little bit different. When I left, I was in ministry for 15 years, and I left ministry to go into the insurance industry, and I started my first day in insurance with a part-time staff member. That's rare. I cashed out some retirement accounts I had. I said, I know that I need to be selling, not doing paperwork. Mm-hmm. In the insurance business back in 1992, it was very paperwork heavy. So I had an 82-year-old woman as my first assistant, but she had been in the industry world for like 30 years with my company. So she knew everything. She retired. Are we it's up there again. You're grayed out. We good? Mm-hmm. All right. I don't know what the... sorry, I was looking at the camera. So there ought to be an ideal characteristic. So is it somebody who's been in business 2 years and now so busy he can't do it all? 3 years? What industries? Are they making enough money at that standpoint to be able to pay your hourly rate or that of your staff that you have on your team? So you have to begin with identifying your ideal client. So if you're just calling names out of the phone book, that's never going to work. Your return on that may be 1%, or if you're like me, I'm never going to answer my phone, be 0%. So identify who your niche is, who your perfect, not ideal. I think a lot of people get, well, this is my ideal. What's your perfect? There's a difference, okay? Then once you identify your perfect client, who has influence over those people? If school teachers were your ideal client, maybe the principal. Certainly if they're a union member, their union has influence over them. Maybe the head of the PTA. So don't think about doing retail belly to belly, phone call. Let's see who's connected, maybe in your sphere already, who's connected to people that are your perfect clients. And then, again, I'm going to work my social media. I'm going to work my close circle of friends of COI, circle of influence, to see if they know people in my ideal niche. Cold calling, either you have the stomach for it or you don't. It's never going to get easier. Never. No matter how good you are. And most people don't respect it. And with the do not call list, it limits you and puts you at risk of getting in some serious trouble. So if I'm going to do that, I'm going to look for influencers over my perfect ideal person and try to work with those influencers to come up with an irresistible offer. Question number 2.
All right. Making the phone ring, letting people know what I do. How do we do that?
Well, it's different than 25 years ago. 25 years ago, it was phone calling, like the prior question of, how do I cold call? Now, obviously, we have all kinds of ways to do that. Skywriting plane. The banner over the beach. I mean, if you're in Florida, that might
fancy
work. But we're in Kansas City, it's kind of spitting snow and a little bit of ice today. So that wouldn't be the ideal thing to do today. But we do have social media. We do still have the telephone. We have text messaging. We have private messaging. But there again, be careful. It sounds innocent to say let people know what you do, but let me ask you the question, how many people really care? So let's say you were going to change fields tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
How many people really care other than your mom and your dad and Charlie?
Probably nobody.
I mean, you have a couple close friends?
Yeah.
Okay. They might care, but are they in a position to help you?
Probably not.
All right. So Erica is no different than any other millennial or whatever, baby boomer, whatever. Here's the problem that a lot of you face. You've been in the corporate world, or you've been a teacher, or you've been an employee, and all of a sudden you wake up one morning, you got a little itch. So you like to start scratching that itch. And the itch is entrepreneurism. But one thing you have to understand is there's a difference between being an entrepreneur and having entrepreneur tendencies. Now, I know pretty much for a fact this girl next to me is an entrepreneur. See, tendencies mean the idea of owning your own business sounds good until you got to meet payroll, until you need health insurance and you don't have it. An entrepreneur is 10 guys living in a 2-bedroom apartment with 8 of them sleeping on the floor at night trying to save money to launch some company, or sleeping in your car. This gal is not afraid of risk. I know that. I've known her about 2 months. I know she is not afraid of risk. Her husband, risk aversion. Of course, that's a lot of couples. Now, don't feel bad. I mean, it's just, I'm not sure what two people that had risk aversion would be boring and never get out of their box. 2 people that were just risk takers like that, we could kill each other. I mean, who knows what that would be like? So you have to ask yourself the question, are you a true entrepreneur? Do people really care about you? So where I was going with this answer is, when you're in corporate world, you're never making relationships. Maybe in the cubicle next to you, maybe you meet somebody. But I met a financial advisor recently, and I said, were you ever making relationships? He goes, well, I was in corporate America. We didn't really even talk to each other. Maybe a couple friends. I've been so long, I don't remember what it was like. But you decide all of a sudden you need relationships when you get laid off, downsized, capsized, or outsized. So you take your little bit of retirement money and you go buy you a little business or start something, and then you have this revelation, I don't know anybody. So I want to encourage you, whether you're in corporate America or whether you're an entrepreneur, you should always be investing in other people first for those times in your life where you may do a new venture and need that support and need their help. The one thing that people are always late to the game on when they become an entrepreneur is most of them, 95%, never invested in relationships, never cared about others enough to help them, never showed an interest in someone else's business, and now all of a sudden, I need people. Well, by the time you need people, it's too late. Those best times to develop those relationships were 5 years ago, 10 years ago. So if you can stay in corporate America and you don't have to leave, you better ask yourself the question. You may have the best widget in the world, but without the right relationships, your business may struggle. So always be creating relationships. Always be supporting other small businesses. Always be helping others so that when you need that help, support, and maybe wisdom, they'll be readily there to join arms with you. Eliminate the need for cold calling and give your business a fighting chance. Thanks for joining us today on episode 12 of the Ask Tim Chin Show. Check out our sponsors, our YouTube channel down below, and we will see you next time. God bless.